open-minded. Tommy Nation Politics. How's it going, guys? Tommy with Tommy Politics, your new independent progressive media. Free-thinking, innovative, totally open-minded. Bringing you the news, bringing you the truth, wanting to come together for the common good. E pluribus unum. As we all should, guys. Let's no longer keep up appearances. It's time for bold, progressive action. Don't you think? I do. Hey guys, this is Tommy with Tommy Nation Politics. How's everyone doing today?
In Bernie's world, let me outline your life. Before and after birth, parents get paid family leave.
I mean, when I look at this, I don't see how America could possibly like this.
You have every powerful special interest and their lobbyists flooding Capitol Hill trying to defeat this legislation.
Lawmakers may still be on recess, but it is clear that the lobbyists are already hard at work.
Up to age 3, the government helps with daycare. After age 3, youngsters get free pre-K.
It's just sickening. It makes you really sick to your stomach
No,
to
but
see
I
all
think-
this awful stuff in there.
You got the drug companies out there who charge us the highest prices in the world for prescription drugs. They don't want us to lower the cost of prescription drugs.
This may be one of the biggest fights we've seen in Washington in decades.
You got the healthcare industry out there who doesn't want us to expand Medicaid.
And you, the parents, get expanded Medicare with dental, vision, and hearing paid for.
The Chamber of Commerce has been among the most vocal opponents of the bill, but it is certainly not alone.
You got the fossil fuel industry out there.
The Business Roundtable, led by the CEO of Walmart, is against it.
And you got the billionaire class out there who is going to do everything that they possibly can to make sure they don't start paying their fair share of taxes.
The Rate Coalition, which includes Lockheed Martin, Verizon, and Disney, is focused on fighting changes to the corporate tax rate in particular.
But if we stand together, we're going to beat those special interests and deliver for the working class of this country.
We've heard a lot of talk about high-dollar fundraisers in this campaign, and how the Clinton campaign hosts some events where some people get special access for bundling up to $27,000. This all plays into how our country's corrupt campaign finance system operates.
My distinguished guests, my fellow Americans, this is America's day.
I think this presents us with some significant opportunities to make some real changes. You know, we are at an inflection point, I believe, in the world economy. Not just the world economy, in the world. It occurs every 3 or 4 generations. As one of the top military people said to me in a secure meeting the other day, 60 million people died between 1900 and 1946. And since then, we established a liberal world order, and that hadn't happened in a long while. A lot of people dying, but nowhere near the chaos. And now is a time when things are shifting. There's going to be a new world order out there, and we've got to lead it. We've got to unite the rest of the free world in doing it.
At the same time, we had a viral moment, Crystal, schooling some people on the Bill Maher real-time experience. Do you want to describe it for people before we throw to the clip?
Yeah, so as you guys probably know, I flew on to LA over the weekend and I went on Real Time with Bill Maher. It's I don't know why that show stresses me out. Mm-hmm. It's a very different environment.
Lights and audience and all
yeah,
that
there's
stuff.
live audience and you fly all the way out there to do it. Right. And you know that you got to be super, super punchy to get your points in because
it's like TV.
Yeah, and and you know it's also going to be combative and confrontational, which stresses me out too. And we're so used to having the time and space
to talk and go down any avenue we want and think out loud and kind of like, you know, and have things taken in good faith and all those things. And like this, you gotta be on and on. So I was extremely stressed out going into this, but ultimately, you know, we talked some about January 6th, and that conversation was fine. You know, I wanted to talk about some of the more underlying issues because that's what we do, and there wasn't really the time and space for that. Interesting.
But then we got into inflation, and I got very combative, I guess, with the in my mind, very simplistic explanation that this is all just about the money that was given to working class people. And the point I wanted to make, which I think is something that you guys are familiar with watching this show, is okay, we can talk about that, and I'm not dishonest enough to say that that has nothing to do with the inflation we're facing, but we just completely ignore the trillions of dollars that went to the top that helped to fuel inflation. Somehow that's fine, but God forbid you get a stimmy check in your bank account. So that was the point I was trying to make. And that was also the moment that has gone now at this point actually super viral. So let's take a look at that.
Well, I mean, part of this inflationary problem is because we put too much money into the economy. There's way too much government spending, and that's why we have inflation. So that's a large part of that. It's just basic economics. And
that is not basic economics. We had this thing called a pandemic. We had a supply chain crisis, and by the way, there's a war in Ukraine. So to act like the only reason we have problems now is because people got a little bit of money in their bank account is just not honest.
And a little bit of money, they got more than we spent in World War II. So don't act like
hold on.
Hold on. Don't act like, you said don't act. Don't act like we had to react to the pandemic exactly the way we did. We had to spend $6 trillion.
Okay, but how about the trillions that the Federal Reserve shot at Wall Street? For some reason, people don't get upset about that.
How much did you say?
Fueled the trillions of dollars the Federal Reserve shot at Wall Street to backstop the stock market and the bond market. No one gets upset about that, even though that was a massive
I don't know what
factor in
you're talking
inflation.
about. What do you mean shot at Wall Street?
Well,
when are we talking about?
We're talking about buying assets, buying stocks, buying bonds, buying treasury bills so that they expand the balance sheet. This is during the crisis, the coronavirus crisis. When the stock market crashed, that is what the Fed did. They went into action. They shot trillions of dollars.
But the stock market didn't crash during COVID.
Now it's crashing. It's crashing now.
It crashed, and the Fed came in and backstopped it. That's what happened.
It crashed and we never heard about it?
No, it crashed. Go back and look at it. It fell off a cliff. The Treasury bond market stopped functioning, and the Fed took extraordinary action it's never taken in history.
Somehow
no one gets upset.
The first week of
Somehow nobody gets upset about the rich people who got tons of money and tons of support, way more than working class people did.
Sure
but
they do.
My God, people were able to feed their kids and they had a little bit of money in their bank accounts. It was the worst thing in the world.
No.
That is one small part of the inflation story, and is, by the way, not the only thing that we can deal with to get out of this mess.
Well, gas
so
prices.
Biden has
Is it a small part, Jamie?
Gas prices we can largely attribute to an administration that's been waging war on the fossil fuel industry.
That's ridiculous.
And now
they drilled more than everybody. I mean,
that's the talking point.
U.S. production.
No.
Okay, U.S. production is up.
Well,
it will be at record levels next year.
Okay, well,
the fossil fuel companies themselves are flush with cash, but will not invest in new drilling because they would rather give it to their shareholders.
Okay, all right,
that's the truth. So there's a lot going on there.
That's very stressful.
It
also,
is.
The stock market crashed in March of 2020. Like what? What are you talking about?
Well, I get why you might have forgotten, because the Fed leapt into action, but that was such a seminal moment that really determined our trajectory everywhere since. Because remember, the politicians, it was unclear that they were going to do much of anything for anyone at the time. Remember, we were beside ourselves.
Yes.
I'm like, they may not act at all. And then once the market crashed, that's when they were like, shit, we got to do something. And of course, the overwhelming amount went to the top, as it always does, but they had to sweeten the deal with some stuff for regular people. Remember, at the time, there were all those stories about senators who sold everything they had, who sold a bunch of their stock before the crash so they could avoid the fallout from so the crash ultimately was very short, exactly because of what I tried my best to explain there in a very short period of time, of the extraordinary action that the Fed ultimately took. And that's why you ended up with these dueling headlines of, oh my God, the stock market's at record levels, but meanwhile unemployment is, also at record levels. The reason you had that dueling reality is because of the Fed's actions there. And so if you don't understand that history, you're going to have a hard time understanding what's unfolding before us right now.
Yeah, I just think that, I don't know how you could have forgotten that crash. I mean, even today, the headlines are all largest stock market crash since the 2020 crash of coronavirus. Actually, I just looked. 2020 market crash even has its own Wikipedia page. And actually at the time, there were Black Monday 1, Black Thursday, and then there was Black Monday 2, where they specifically talk about how on February 17th, that's when the Asian markets began to crash as a result of reports coming out, not only of China, but South Korea and initial lockdown procedures. That's what triggered massive market sell-off. March of 2020 leads to the eventual discussion around stimulus checks, of lockdowns. April of 2020 is when all of this gets solidified into place. By May, it's largely forgotten and cheap capital floods the system, but that was a pivotal pivotal economic time. I mean, we are going to study that period.
That
Economists
moment.
are going to study that period for decades.
Yeah.
That is equivalent to quantitative easing post-Great Recession, equivalent to Great Depression type monetary policy.
Yes.
And like you said, I guess I could forgive Bill for not remembering it. But even, I mean, with great respect to Jamie Kirchick and all of that, this is the issue with not understanding markets, both oil markets and stock markets, as to the exact mechanisms. Because if you want to sit there and talk about demand inflation based upon stimulus checks and overstimulation, fine, yeah, we can have that conversation. But to what extent is it part of the current solution?
Hey guys, this is Tommy with Tommy Nation Politics. How's everyone doing today? Hey guys, this is Tommy with Tommy Nation Politics. How's everyone doing today? Tommy Nation Politics.
It is the eve of another critical January 6th committee hearing, the panel's fourth one, starting tomorrow at 1 p.m. Eastern. California Congressman Adam Schiff will take the lead. The focus: efforts to pressure state officials into overturning Joe Biden's 2020 victory, a race, of course, he won fairly. I'm going to say it one more time. A race he won fairly. And the plan to get fake electors to Washington, D.C. in time to stop the transfer of power on January 6th.
This was, I think, really unprecedented in U.S. history, this broad effort to overturn a presidential election, and you'll see just what the weight of the presidency brought down on these officials.
And another hearing means more Republican witnesses. And that's what we're going to get tomorrow. Arizona's Republican House Speaker Rusty Bowers gets his turn. Committee aides tell NBC News he will detail for the first time how Trump and Rudy Giuliani leaned on him directly to overturn Biden's victory in Arizona. Joining Bowers tomorrow, two other Republican officials who are targets of a very similar pressure campaign. Georgia's Secretary of State, Brett Raffensperger, who Trump famously asked to find those 11,780 votes, and his deputy, Gabe Sterling, along with Shay Moss, a Georgia election worker who got personal death threats and harassment and was falsely accused of manipulating votes. She was just an election worker, helping to count votes in the hours after the election. And she got death threats. Committee aides say the hearing will also show that Trump knew the pressure campaign could in fact become violent, but he pushed it anyway.
We'll be showing some of the evidence of the president's role in this whole scheme of pressuring state legislators. Donald Trump lost these states. We'll explore the role that was played by the president, by his campaign, by lawyers.
Aides also tell NBC News that Trump's then chief of staff, Mark Meadows, played a key role in the fake elector scheme. And the Washington Post now reporting that Trump's advisors knew the fake elector plan had absolutely no legal basis, but they pushed it anyway. Meanwhile, at this point, more Americans, not Democrats, more Americans think Trump deserves to face consequences for the insurrection. An ABC News poll shows 58% of Americans say the former president should be charged with a crime for his role in the riots. And the hearings are happening amid a growing concern of even more political violence in this country. Committee member Adam Kinzinger, one of two Republicans on that panel, shared a recent death threat against him and his family.
Hello, hey, Liz Cheney, you called, I can't hear a thing. I am investigating the January 6th. What did you say? Are you breaking up on me? Sorry, I cannot hear you. I'm in a committee. Sorry, I cannot hear you. I'm in a committee. Just a second, New York Times, the footage gonna play of insurrections happening on January 6th. Investigating right-wingers, they broke into the place. Sorry, I cannot hear you, I'm in a committee. Stop Donald Trump. Donald Trump ain't gonna run anymore. He'll be reelected in 2024. Stop Donald Trump. Donald Trump ain't gonna run anymore. He'll be reelected in 2024. We cannot stand that guy. He is an orange menace and shade. A threat to democracy. We cannot let him get his way. When there's no one home, Adam Schiff gonna ring my telephone. Kinzinger's buds in the Capitol muds, and Democrats can't win this alone. Here we go, when there's no one home, Adam Schiff gonna ring my telephone. Kinzinger's bummed, the Capitol dum-dum, Cheney on my telephone. CIA is tapping phones, let's go black then. Stock market is crashing, Fed's inflation flashing. Shouldn't have reached the primaries, time to take some action. Miss Cheney can't stop it, neoliberals pass up. Not like I don't like violence, I'm a Cheney, don't you see? This is different than regime change wars, okay. Sometimes I feel like I'm gonna get what's coming all to me. But then I realize that I am wealthy, bitch, okay? So I'm committing. All is fucking I am committing. Stop Donald Trump. Donald Trump ain't gonna run anymore. He'll be reelected in 2024. This fool's Donald Trump. Gotta stop Donald Trump or head out the door. He'll be reelected in 2024. Stop Donald Trump. Gotta stop Donald Trump. He's a bore. He'll be reelected in 2024. Oh, liberal. I'm not Cheney. Gotta stop that orange man. Oh, liberal is a threat to democracy. Gotta stop that orange man. Donald Trump, he's a threat to democracy. Commissions on the Democrats' own. Chip is on his telephone. Kinzinger's bombed in the Capitol. Miss Cheney's on her telephone. AOC just went live in the Instagram. Posing with the telephone. Zelensky calls Pelosi and Coleman on the telephone. That telephone. CNN's on the telephone. Rachel Maddow called MSNBC. Telephone. She's on the CIA telephone. Is on the telephone.
We're sorry. The number you have reached is not in service at this time. Please check the number or try your call again.
There is violence in the future, I'm going to tell you. And until we get a grip on telling people the truth, we can't expect any differently.
And just today, Missouri Republican Senate candidate Eric Greitens released a violent new political ad
guys, this
that
is
shows
Tommy
him
with Tommy Nation
carrying
Politics.
a shotgun while
How's everyone
hunting
doing today?
for rhinos. And I don't mean the animals, rhinos. Less than loyal Republicans in name only.
Hey guys, this is Tommy with Tommy Nation Politics. Free thinking, innovative, totally open-minded, new progressive media. And turns out that from the INN Network, I have a guest, Yeti Jesus from the Breadlines. So excited to have him on the program today. Guys, I also have the Patriot Angle Unfiltered Raw on the chat. He's talking about how, let's see, saying this for over a year now, Trump was right. Trump was right about all of it. The stimulus checks created inflation. Now, of course, as Crystal Ball was trying to tell everyone that at the beginning of this pandemic, I just have to keep emphasizing this, guys, because it was the first robbery of the American people. Hours they bailed out the banks and the military. It bailed out the stock market as soon as it tanked. They fettered a free market with government money. Just social. Maybe it's. What do you think, Patriot Angle? You're right when you call that socialism to give government money to a free market. I don't know, but guys, I would call this Tommy Nation Politics, and of course, Hopefully, you're at my website, www.tommynationpolitics.com. If you want to send me messages, we can also talk to you, and I will talk to you no matter what ideology you're on, because I'm always about talking to our American brethren at facebook.com/TommyNationPolitics. Also, Discord, Tommy Nation Politics, capital T, capital N, capital P. Guys, we've got a lot of things going on besides reckless spending and neoliberal policies. We've, of course, got this January 6th commission and the claims thereof. I'm watching it, but Yeti says that he has. Did I get that right? Yeti, you're like you're watching the January 6th commission, bro?
No, I was actually discussing, commenting on the election fraud thing you were running originally. I've seen.
Yeah.
I haven't watched too much of the Jan 6 stuff too closely because it just seemed like an overzealous meet and greet.
It's the perfect time for Democrats and Republicans to form alliances during the midterms and decide who can have what, and the gerrymandering. It's like, you know, it's like what do they call those things? The summer homes. It's a timeshare. It's a sharing of power that's going on right now. That's all it is. And I mean, other than that, what have they found out? What is they keep saying there's criminal activity? I have no idea. What's the election fraud that you're talking about?
They were talking about evidence to it, and I was just wondering if you had ever seen the Italian judge who had read an affidavit from the Italian special ops guy that basically he explained how they helped mess with the election results, basically with hacking through the computers. And so I was genuinely curious because I had to go. The only thing I really ever got back to ever verify was that the guy that was actually reading this stuff was a judge in Italy. So it's like it was an actual affidavit. It was a judge that read it. So I never got to do much more of a deep dive into it, but it was pretty interesting at the time to read about it.
So what were like some key points, some highlights about that stood out to you?
I think it was basically just like the intelligence officer just straight up said, he's like, yeah, we changed votes around. I was like, oh, that's pretty direct kind of, he didn't go into great detail like what they did, but they said they all did it under the Italian Secret Service agency, whatever it's called over there.
Well, I'm gonna need some sources on that, but it doesn't sound unlike them. They were bugging the president's phones. I mean, that's why they had that call with Raffensperger in the first place. And it's so funny.
All this Pegasus stuff, right?
Yeah, the Pegasus project.
It just starts to kind of like line up a lot more than just some crazy person saying this.
I mean, look, nobody, David, who's a good friend of mine, he's always saying, and welcome to the live stream, David. He's always saying there's no way that this ultimate crack guy, 1 million votes, more votes than Obama. And I mean, logically, it sounds accurate. I don't have sources. I don't have the evidence. Otherwise, I would. But on the other hand, guys, you just have to realize that this is all a culmination of the neoliberal policies that were, in fact, the private sector and the sector meet, and these politicians are now puppet rich. What do you think is going to happen? There's going to be election fraud because they're bosses now. Bosses are going to demand certain things, and so invite me, Tommy. I have to comment this. Okay. Well, I will after on the break, bro, because like I'm riffing right now. But I mean, you have total right to comment on this. But I'll ask you this Patriot angle. So you're talking about how Trump about everything. Who was the guy who was talking about these lobbyist interest groups that are going to have a foothold on our government if we don't watch out and we don't get money out of politics? What about this nice little socialist 80-year-old guy who you said was crazy, Bernie? Could you at least give him a little bit of credit? He's sitting there in the budget committee under Joe the dementia-riddled Dixiecrat Biden. Can you right wingers give Bernie Sanders just like a little bit of credit for like his little? I mean, he's saying the same thing. So I'm just saying, like, that was Rudy taught me.
I think ultimately you're going to have to end up with a blend of like a bunch of different political ideologies in order to kind of succeed as a society.
I mean, like, Michael's always talking about this parliamentary system that we were supposed to be having. And in the UK, they have many parties. They have a Labour Party. They have all kinds of parties. Here we have parties that literally only freed the slaves just get more power. Lincoln literally freed us just so he could beat the South.
Well,
so,
and
guys,
Lincoln said he
everything
would
they
have.
do is a negotiation. Go ahead.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Well, and Lincoln even said that he would not. If he didn't have to free the slaves, he would not have done it. Like he's quoted.
That's what he said.
That. Yeah,
that's what he said. It was a political. Yep. It was a political calculation to free the slaves. He wanted to overturn the South. He wanted to. Lincoln wanted to maintain power, and so these Republicans and Democrats have done for the years, guys. So you have to realize that when you're talking about rhinos, these Republicans in name only, you're just talking about these people that have had an opportunity to turn on you and did. These people that have not yet had an opportunity to turn on you, they will eventually, because they're Republicans and Democrats, the oldest gangs in the country. So
we're a society of me first.
And
so people always will go to like whatever benefits them the most first, right? Like screw everyone else. It's about me all the time.
Isn't
in politics?
Well, I want to talk about Russia for a little bit because some news came out from the Associated Press 6 hours ago. It says Russia pushes to control East Ukraine city. Kremlin says it's captured U.S. vets that could face death. The Associated Press says, quote, Russia combined its firepower to hit more suburban areas around the eastern city of Severodonetsk on Tuesday, where controlling the area remains Moscow's top focus on the war in Ukraine. So unlike Reuters that reported last week that it's not going well for Putin, he should pack up and go home. He seems to be capturing cities, and I have a picture, guys, of the firefight. Yes, there we go. So the $40 billion, guys, that we gave to the Ukrainians, armor tanks and all that, it seems to not be, the humanitarian aid, it seems to not really change the fact that the Kremlin has full control of the Donbass. And it shows, all the fire and shelling. Associated Press reads on, rescuers trying to extinguish a fire after shelling in one of the industrial areas in the region on Monday. Russian forces, as well as parts of eastern Ukraine, and the Ukraine Deputy Defense Minister, that it appears that Russia is pushing to reach of Luhansk. So they're on an agenda. And the fighting in Ukraine, fifth month, this Friday, the Russian army is thrown into storming the settlements around Severodonetsk, as the Guardian reports. So Putin will eventually. What do you think about that, Yeti? What do you think about that?
Well, actually, this is what I spent.
He seems to have taken it.
Well, he's going to take Ukraine. There's no doubt about that. But he doesn't want the Ukraine land, really. He really just wants NATO to not be able to launch nukes at them from like 7 minutes away. Is what his main, I think, concern is. But at this point, Ukraine isn't willing to negotiate at all at the behest of the states. So Russia's just continuing with their special military operation. And they've made some mistakes at the start.
It's really true.
They made a couple mistakes and like here and
I mean,
there,
they underestimated. They underestimated
underestimated
our wallets and our and the proxy war that we wanted to have because we love to do regime. They underestimated the fact that we love to do regime change, I think.
But the side occurrence of this is what's going to be is Russia's going to end up with one of the most battle-ready armies in the world that's been battle-tested. Their pilots are going. They're not losing many planes, so they're not losing pilots. All these pilots are gaining massive amounts of experience now. So, and
they're doing drills with Chinese too.
Yes.
You heard about that, right?
China's just
That's alarming.
China just launched 2 new aircraft carriers with the electromagnetic launching systems. So they're slightly different than the American ones, but I don't know technically like the differences. I just know they're slightly different. But Russia sent, I think it was 5 warships towards the Beijing Strait, maybe towards the whatever's split between Taiwan and China.
So that's alarming. What do you think that's going to lead to? Exactly. Is it going to be an alliance, kind of like what we saw before in World War II?
Yeah,
mean,
Russia and Russia, China are already alliance. They've already stated their alliance, both militarily and economically. So World War III has already started. We're just in the sizzling phase. Once the Russia-Ukraine started, that's basically World War III beginning, because that was Russia basically telling the states to fuck off at that point.
So you think this World War III is going to involve? You think this World War III is going to involve nuclear weapons? That.
Yes, I do. I hope not, but unfortunately, I don't really see much way out of the nuclear unless the actual people of like the countries decide to have level heads and take back what is rightfully ours already. But if it gets I feel like it might get to nuclear warheads though. And I don't like our chances in the West. We're decades behind on technology.
Or decades behind nuclear?
For like speed of warheads.
So you're saying ours? Yeah.
Oh yeah, they got nuclear missiles that hit Mach 20. I think the States has like most Mach 6 maybe. I can't remember the exact, but I know their Sarmat they just starting to put into production hits Mach 20. It can hit Washington in I think it was 170 seconds. I'll have to look back. In my Telegram thread, I have all the information.
So it's interesting though, because like it said in the Associated Press, there are United States Army military personnel captured in this firefight. So once again, I'm going to let these neoliberals know that this was not a little humanitarian mission. We're just going to give them some weapons and $40 billion. We were always on boots on the ground, guys. And now it's been revealed because there have been captures, okay? And so once again we have a Congress. Okay, well, we have a Congress, guys. Just think about this. We have a Congress that has not declared war. Once again. And we have a proxy war going on, which we fund neo-Nazis and another regime, only to find out that we have boots on the ground and captures have been taking place in the eastern Ukraine. By the way, Patriot and Michael, I sent you an invite if you want to come on. Maybe we could talk about this, because we have a lot to talk about, the right and the left. I'm glad that we're all on here talking about this, because we have issues that we need to solve, and it's not going to be. They're not interested in solving anything. They didn't even want to do anything during the pandemic. They literally had to, because the stock market crashed. Okay, donors said to do something. $1,600 at $1,200. So, Michael, I need you to tell me how the checks of $600, $1,200, and some other amount of money crashed the economy, rose food costs and gas prices, when in 48 hours they gave $5 trillion to Wall Street. But somehow the $1,200 literally did it for us. I need you to explain that to me, because I need to get on board with this. Guys, I understand why you're not giving Bernie Sanders, because you really do think that deep down, and this alarms me, right wing, you really think that giving money to the rich is a good endeavor because they're smart, they work for it. I don't know your reasoning, but giving money to us is always a handout. That seems to be like the fucking narrative that you guys always seem to go with. So You just made a statement, Michael, that the stimulus checks, like that's a strong ass statement because they've been giving trillions and trillions of dollars to Wall Street, the banks, and military industrial complex. And I need you to tell me how my $1,200 fucking cost rose gas prices and made these oil executives greedy beyond all of. I need you to tell me how my $1,200 gave evictions moratoriums, gave people that people couldn't pay their rent because they had to stay at home. The government ordered that. I need you to tell me that, Michael. So you need to get on here, and we need to out now because you guys really got to stop thinking that the working people and their stimulus checks are the reason we're in this mess. It's always been the rich and the puppets of the rich, and you see it. Trump said it. He talked about the military-industrial complex, and yet you still think our stimulus checks were the one things that did it. I don't understand you guys. Why get out of this fucking mentality? The working class is the enemy. I don't get it. Michael, get the fuck out of here.
What?
We're gonna have a go ahead.
I think most of the money is basically just imaginary, made-up money at this point. They just call it inflation. They're like, oh yeah, we have this much money. Where is it? It's in somewheres. I swear, it's in a bank.
Well, see, the reason they have this much profits ever since the pandemic, the pharmaceutical industry has been raking in record profits, and they now have government contracts with our government. The military-industrial complex raking in record contracts with our armored tanks that we've been giving to Ukraine, and proxy wars that once again intelligence because this war, Zelensky's going to lose. So to put $40 billion on a bet in this regime seems to be bad intelligence, very bad. Of course, this doesn't stop them from moving on to the next reckless venture or non-solution that can secure them the prestige as they go on weaponizing their other gangbanging regimes across the world to do coups in other Southern American countries, Europe. And this, which is why Putin doesn't like NATO, because he knows that they're literally an outpost for our gangbanging colonization. And it's funny, Yeti, because I hear the mainstream all the time about Putin wants. They have no idea what Putin wants. Have you noticed that? They have no fucking idea what Putin wants. I know what Joe Biden wants. He wants power. He wants prestige. He wants to maintain the status quo. He wants to. I have no idea what
Joe
Putin
Biden wants to run
either.
the world.
They don't either. Yes, he said he wants.
Joe Biden is like the definition of white supremacy. He wants to rule the world with him and his oligarch buddies, enslaving the rest of us.
So the stimulus devalued the dollar, which crashed the system. But the $40 trillion that Wall Street, that didn't devalue the
devaluing of the dollar is the Russian sanctions because they backfired on Russia's ruble is actually going up in value and is now higher than when they started this special military operation.
So Michael, what did the $4 trillion they gave Wall Street when they bailed out Wall Street and they buffered the stock market with government money? What was that to the dollar? Just add in. What was the $4 trillion they gave Wall Street to buffer the stock market, a free market with government money? What was that? What did that do to the dollar? Wondering. I mean, literally, guys. You guys are ridiculous. They're pumping money to their fucking donors, and you.
Well, that's the thing. Like it's almost all artificial value to now, but it's making their worth more so they can buy things in other countries. But if the American dollar collapses, which it appears to be heading, there's going to be significant problems for the citizens of the country.
I mean, the citizen, right? And these
it's always the citizen that get
on working class citizens. I mean, it is. These oligarchs have hideaways. They're using our tax system to hide their money in tax havens like in islands.
Well,
so
and money isn't used the same way
yachts.
For their society. Like, money to us is used to buy goods and services we need. But for, like, the ultra-rich, it's just something to have. Like, a lot of times, even what they do is they have money managers, so their money is always constantly being run through banks, but they get zero interest. So they never actually have money. They're just living on interest, but they have the assets to back them up. It's a very odd, it's not really, it doesn't seem to be logical to me to run a system that way, but I'm a moron, so.
Michael, try copying and pasting it out of Instagram. Sometimes the link, Instagram and Facebook don't like the link and they fuck with it. So I gave it again. But because modern monetary theory, MMT, right? We've been giving trillions and trillions of dollars to executives and Wall Street, the banks, for so long. And then, and yes, we tripled the deficit in 3 consecutive years, tripled the deficit. So that didn't seem to make the rising inflation like this. It was only our $1,200 checks that did it.
Yeah,
that's what it was.
Well, and the only saving grace for the states is that the American dollar is basically the world currency, so they can print money as much as they want for their own good. But if that ever stops, all of a sudden all that inflated money is magically gone, unfortunately, I think. Which will suddenly make the cost of living insanely higher for like everyday people. Because the billionaires will try and recoup their money.
And they're still is that what they're trying to do now with the because with the pandemic, things were shut down.
Well,
so
I think
is that what they're trying to do with these
for the very rich? Well, I think for the very rich, they know after every major pandemic, the rights of workers drastically increases. So I think they're trying to basically pad as much money away as they can before the workers turn around and start demanding more equal pay. Like, and it's like every, like the bubonic plague, the Spanish flu, like all plagues throughout history, the rights of the workers have drastically jumped ahead because I don't know what it is, but maybe they just realize they're getting screwed more when it slows down.
I mean, it's become transparent, but the fact is that in this new normal after the pandemic, people are now waking up to that once was. They're waking to a country with legalized corruption, injustice, income inequality, and outrageous behavior from the Democrats and the Republicans. Yeah. So they're not waking to a place. Look at this president, for example, who's talking about the soaring inflation and how Clinton told cut it out, right? When they did the bailouts and they bet against the to do another windfall and foreclose on people's homes. This president keeping up appearances. The White House officials blast, but leave the door open to windfall profit tax, which is what Bernie Sanders is pushing in the budget committee. He says that they keep pushing this whole Poogs hike, and it's outrageous that oil and gas companies are able to give these profits in such a way. Except who lays out these policies? Who lays out these policies? Was it the oil and gas people? Because I'm pretty sure it was Joseph Elizabeth Biden. And we know what an interesting thing, Yeti, is that I was looking back in Politico, and it appears as if Joe Biden, they switched the fossil fuel industry, switched funding the Republicans. And they started funding the Democrats because they were trying to get them to stop doing renewable energy. Yep. So in order to stop them to do renewable energy, they stopped funding Trump, and the Republicans started funding the Democrats and the Democratic Party. That was August 19th, 2020, for Politico.
Yeah.
Mike.
Hey, well, you know what's interesting?
Angle, unfiltered. Welcome.
Welcome. Thank you. Thank you.
Go ahead, Yeti.
How's it going?
How's it going, buddy?
I was yelling at him, so I let.
Oh no, I like him. He seems to have some good points. No, I was gonna say what we're seeing now is essentially the same thing they did to hemp back in the day when they realized that it would be a more affordable product for the masses. They didn't want people to use it. They wanted the synthetic cottons that the industrialists were making. So we're seeing the same idea with solar energy. They're telling you all these bad things that can happen with it, and it's because
terrible.
Essentially, it's going to work well. They are starting to make strides in the efficiency of the actual solar cells that make up the solar panels.
Right, but you got to look at solar energy. If I may add, it should be looked as a temporary basis. I don't want to be one of these folks that lives in east or western Alaska. That you got to rely on the sun in Alaska, and you're not going to have your solar panels working in Alaska, my friend.
Exactly. Yeah, there's got to be a blend of different things, and like I live in an oil country. Dude, like I'm Canadian, but I live up by the oil sands. So
that solar energy would be working about a good 55-60% for you then.
Yeah. Like in the summer, we have like almost 24 hours of sunlight up here.
Yeah.
So it's not bad.
Like
but in the winter, we have like 5.
Yeah, I mean, if you lived in Texas or something, the solar panels would work phenomenal in Texas or anywhere in the southern states of America. But you got folks that live in Anchorage, Alaska, or folks that live anywhere in up in your neck of the woods in Canada. Those solar panels ain't gonna work on a 24/7 basis.
No, you would need massive like big systems and like a really good inverter and converters to like maximize
so solar
storage.
panels. You talk about solar panels. You talk about windmills. Windmills should be looked at another temporary basis because the fucking things you're gonna put a windmill up and they're gonna start killing the birds. I mean, you need birds in this world. For those that don't understand the knowledge between birds, or you actually need birds in this world. What happens when you kill off all the birds?
They make
Well, you need all kind of animals to work within the ecosystem.
Don't wind people gay though? Isn't that what I heard or something? They make them
That's
liberal.
a new one to me. I've never heard that.
What Trump say about windmills?
Trump said about the windmills, about the bird theory.
Something about windmills.
Yeah, he used the bird. Yeah, Trump used the bird theory for the windmills.
Trump is like what happens when you have ADHD and no filter.
Trump is.
I mean, look, I will. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No,
I'm willing to admit when Trump is right, Michael. But why can't you admit when Bernie Sanders has been telling you this about the lobbyist interest groups this whole time, and you can't give him any credit at all?
Bernie Sanders.
We're not leaving. We're not leaving this show until you give Bernie Sanders the credit he deserves, bro.
Bernie Sanders is a fucking socialist, man. Come on now.
But you need some type of socialist policies.
Trump is a
because
dumb orange guy who didn't write his own book. But he was right.
Trump had this country literally on steroids. What does his label have to do with
the fact?
But Trump had this country on steroids, Tommy. Yes.
I don't even know what that means. It sounds like some kind of hero worship. Sounds like
Trump did do some good things within.
You should put that as a hashtag.
The idea of bringing back like industry stuff to work in offers good jobs. But good jobs let you offer socialist programs like healthcare and educations.
Yeah, but like you got to admit, like under Trump, you didn't have record high of inflation. You didn't have.
It doesn't matter who your president is, though. Biden, you're going to have inflation because it's the oligarchy capitalists that run the country. Whoever's in office is just a puppet.
Culminated.
Do you understand where inflation comes from?
I enjoy Trump more than any other American politician.
I do.
Right.
Like,
but do you understand
where
inflation
like Trump,
comes
but
from?
I like,
inflation comes from the true definition of inflation.
I want us all to talk.
Is when you devalue a currency. When you devalue it. Excuse me. I'm tired.
Yeah.
I've been up since like 12 hours. When you devalue a currency, meaning when you create something from something that you cannot create, that's where inflation comes from.
Yeah, but that's the whole American
create
system.
Something from.
It's black money magic.
You cannot create.
When you all right, look
Steve
at
Mnuchin
look at our mints.
By the way,
look at our mints.
Michael, Steve Mnuchin printed out trillions of dollars when Donald Trump was president. Like this didn't just happen when Joe Biden, boom, was inaugurated.
That was
they
only
bailed out. I keep telling you, bro. In 48 hours, they bailed out Wall Street. And check it out. Even Bill Maher. Did you hear that clip of Crystal Ball? Even Bill Maher forgot that the stock market dropped, and then Trump literally told Steve Mnuchin, "Get the wagon, go to the Treasury, and pour out fucking trillions of dollars to Wall Street." And then all of a sudden, the highest fucking, it's the gains. Because we literally did. Well, what do you have to say about that? The fact that they printed money on the Treasury. No, I didn't know what Michael thinks about this. What do you think about the fact that they took money out of the Treasury, printed out of the Treasury, hustled it to the stock market, a free market, and now it's still a free market, Michael? Because
we had to do that, Tommy. We had to do that.
Why? Why? It's a free market.
We had to do that
because markets are supposed to fall. I thought we were supposed to have competition.
Because Trump had a Treasury secretary that was basically dating back to the same principles under Barack Obama. In order to secure that, he had to do that. These were
I have a question though.
Policies under Barack
I have a question
Obama.
though.
He had to do that.
Why is it all right to bail out corporations when they screw up and are bad with their money, but helping out an individual on the street that made a bad choice is wrong? I'd rather help the individual get back on their feet so that they can be a productive member of a society than keep giving money to a corporation that keeps mismanaging money and continually needs to get bailed out by a government.
Hey, Guy, I don't know what your name is, but
money.
You're right.
Yeti, they're not mismanaging money. They're doing it on purpose.
Yeah,
they're
right,
welfare queens. They're the true welfare queens.
Tommy.
They're mismanaging their money on purpose so they can get more.
He's got a point.
But he's agreeing with me. He's agreeing with me.
He's got a point.
Rewarded.
He's got a point right here. I don't know who this guy is, but he's got a point.
Yeti.
His name is Yeti Jesus. He's from the Breadline.
Yeti?
Part of the INN network. Yeti Jesus.
Well, Yeti is right, and he's talking about like
on what? What's the premise? What's the premise?
He's talking about he wants people to get back on their feet instead of giving them a bailout, pretty much, if that's what he's going by. I'd rather have people get on their feet the correct way instead of having Big Brother say, "Oh, don't worry, we're going to give you a stimulus. We're going to give you this."
No, it's not necessarily stimulus, but you need to go into like social programs.
But
like
Yeti, what is that
health.
doing? What is the stimulus doing? It's creating a lazy environment in America, and you got to admit that.
You're right. You know what, Michael? You're right. It is creating a lazy environment in America for Wall Street, the banks, and the military-industrial complex. They are so fucking lazy. They don't even make anything. They don't do anything for the country. They don't contribute anything to the country. They bet against the people. They foreclose on homes, and they get bailouts. You're right.
Yeah.
These bailouts, these little handouts from the welfare queens of Wall Street, they do make this country lazy. I agree with you. So,
but one of the issues?
Why are we doing that? Why are we doing that?
It's like Amazon
why do we have to do
pays so little that people are then forced to rely on social services. So
I haven't heard a good
if
reason.
you're going to have to rely on social services, make Amazon pay a shitload of taxes so that the regular folks' taxes don't go up, but we get the benefit of social services. Because all they're doing is hoarding their money offshore. So if they were doing that with food, we would revolt and show up at their door and be like, "No, you're not keeping any more fucking pineapples, asshole." But because it's money, we're like, "Okay,
the chat's
sure."
open, guys. The chat's open if anybody wants to comment on this. Michael, it's Juneteenth, and it's also Pride. And so I know you care about the LGBT movement or what, but I invited you on. I said, you're not leaving this show until you tell me.
Tommy,
why we have to bail out.
Why we have to bail out.
Why we have to bail out Wall Street? Okay, that's my Pride present. You have to answer that question. Why we got to bail out Wall Street again?
Why do we have to bail out Wall Street?
The American people.
No,
fuck us over.
Do you
associate
Wall Street and like corporations?
Let me say one thing, Yeti. Let me say one thing. The reason why we have to bail out Wall Street is because if Wall Street literally bankrupts itself, if it folds, if it goes under pressure, the entire country goes and melts down. This country
is right,
relies
though.
on Wall Street.
He does.
So
but
this
it's
system
because
relies
that's
on
right.
Wall Street.
That's right. The
it's
system is
because
shit.
they made the system
It's
like
absolute
that,
shit.
so that it like he's
Tommy.
right that it relies on Wall Street.
Tommy,
but it's
where
because
did
they
you
have to
designed
rely
it
on these
to steal.
If we have to rely on these thieves, if we have to rely on these thieves, these namby-pamby thieves who literally
These
bet
thieves
against the
keep
American
your
people.
country alive, sir.
Literally,
no, they aren't.
They don't
They're
make anything. They don't
stealing
create
from
any.
the country.
They don't create any value.
But
They
the
don't create
reason
any
they
value
do
at
need
all.
to be bailed out, and he is right.
Now you
in
gotta explain that.
Because no, he is right
Well,
in
even
the sense
George
that
Bush-
they have to be bailed
George
out
W. Bush-
because they've screwed up the system so bad and inflated the money so artificially that if the stock market crashes, they know everything else is going to crash with it. But the problem is, you need to get rid of Wall Street now and get rid of that
Just like
function because bailing them out isn't actually going to help us, but it's also preventing everything else from collapsing in a sense. It's like you're good, you're fucked one way and you're fucked with the other at some point.
Yeah. Well, you
Michael,
know, I was saying something.
I'm gonna try to speak. I'm gonna try to speak. I'm sorry if you're saying something. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I can't stop yelling.
If you do
I have so much
not
to say about this.
if you don't keep Wall Street afloat, okay? If you don't keep Wall Street afloat, your stocks will diminish, your 401k will diminish, your pensions will diminish. 60 to 70% of your value assets come from Wall Street in New York City. 60%. Almost 60%. I'd say about 55, 60%.
I'm gonna try to speak in some right-wingy language. So say you had a child and he misbehaved. And you said, "Don't do that, Wilbur. You're a bad kid." And Wilbur kept on doing it. He kept on hitting his sister. He's slapping his sister in the face. You said, "Wilbur, don't slap your sister in the face." Wilbur slapped her in the face again. What would you do to that kid? Would you give him $40 trillion? Or would you spank the shit out of that kid and say, "Wilbur, you're no longer getting $40 trillion. Wilbur, you're grounded. You're not even going outside. You were going to eat your dinners in your fucking room, Wilbur." Wouldn't you do that to your kid if he was slapping his sister? These guys intentionally slap us in the face just so that we can bail them out. You know that,
You
right?
have to-
You know that, right? They intentionally do it.
Sometimes you have to bail out the stuff that you don't want to bail out to keep your country afloat, Tommy. That's the way it is. It's old bedrock principles of this country.
That Willy Wonka would say that was a bad egg. That was a bad egg.
Oh, it's a horrible system. It needs to be changed.
I've said this to
But
Tommy many times. We have to
I
go
get
to
his
the parliamentary
argument.
system.
Like, I get where his argument comes from.
If you're saying what you're saying is correct, then we're rewarding bad behavior. That's why our country's failing.
We're
also rewarding the Democrats and the Republicans, and
we have to go back, Tommy.
They've literally tripled the deficit. They swore oaths to protect us from threats foreign domestic. They literally failed on that. They've lied to us to our face carte blanche. They've issued
We have
mandates
to go
that
to a
curtail our civil
parliamentary
liberties,
system. It's no way around
and
it.
we continually elect these people. So we're behaving bad behavior all across the board. Michael, do you realize that we're rewarding bad behavior all across the board? And the people that you say are middle people that got the $1,200 that couldn't pay their rent because they had to stay at home because their government shut down their jobs. They literally
That's tyranny. That's tyranny, Tommy.
They literally are trying to survive, and we're rewarding the
That's
thieves
tyranny.
and
You
Farouk
wouldn't have that.
assaults.
You wouldn't have that from tyrants such as Bill de Blasio. You wouldn't have that from tyrants such as Joe Biden. You wouldn't have that from tyrants such as Kamala Harris, Nancy Pelosi, Chuck Schumer. These are tyrants. It's all a power grab. Did the country have to get shut down
Mitch
from
McConnell.
2020 to 2022? Huh?
But it got shut down when Trump was around,
Liz
too.
Cheney. It's so funny.
It wasn't
I just
like
wanna talk
Trump
about
didn't shut down.
The country.
Let's talk about Liz Cheney
Trump
for a
had
second.
the country.
Okay.
Trump had the country shut down for a matter of a few months, but through bad direction of advisors. That's probably why he had to go through about 12 or 13 different advisors.
He had a whole cabinet of thieves and liars and murderers. He had Steve Mnuchin, Mike Pompeo. He had a whole cabinet of thieves, liars, and murderers.
If Trump was surrounded by good advisors, his administration would be solid. Yeah,
I thought that's what he was gonna do, Michael. I thought that's what he was doing with Kelly McEnany. When I saw her, she was one of the smartest people in his administration. She set a trap for the mainstream
McEnany?
media.
Yeah, she was.
Yeah.
Sarah Huckabee Sanders was another one.
She was dumb. But Kelly McEnany literally said, I've never seen anybody set a trap for the media before.
Sean
And they fell
Spicer
right
was a
into
good
it.
one, but he got too greedy in
bitch
the end.
was fucking savage, bro. I loved it.
Yeah.
Like, I don't understand, Michael. So, like, literally, when the Bernie Sanders was fucking rigged, and they all did the whole elevate Trump as a pipe pepper. I realized that these Democrats were like not for me, but now you can't seem to realize that these Republicans are all
Bernie.
not about you at all. They literally have to contribute their donors. And we call
Bernie.
them rhinos to
Yeah.
isolate them from the Republican Party. But in reality, it is
no
the Republican Party.
politician
And so
is on your
let's talk
side.
about Liz Cheney. Let's talk about Liz Cheney and how she's the perfect example of the Republican Party. Liz Cheney is literally she's the id of the Republican
That's
Party.
a poison.
She right now
there.
is more powerful than she's more powerful. Well, you say what you want about that. She's more powerful than Trump at this moment.
She has so
She's
much
made alliances.
poison. I don't trust that woman as much as I can throw her. I mean,
you don't have to trust her. She'll throw you in jail anyway because she'll come up with some kind of
that
fucking
woman,
committee where she'll put your
did you
name
hear-
on a fucking sideboard, and then she'll spread out propaganda about.
Speaking
the
of
public
Liz
court, public
Cheney,
opinion,
Liz Cheney was just here in Fulton County in Atlanta, Georgia, earlier today with Bill Barr about the hearing on Fulton County with the fraud. And that woman literally had to go into talking points, literally saying, I must remind the folks that when Donald Trump did this, he was trying to speak out and do this and do that. And I must say that it was not a stolen election, that we have all the evidence in the world.
I want to plug you. So Yeti has to go. But
Sorry, I gotta
before you
jump
go,
off.
Yeti, where can everybody find you?
You can find me on YouTube at the Breadlines, on Twitter at Yeti1181, and you can also find me on Telegram, Yeti Translations. I've been doing Russian to English translations for Telegram threads on there to try and follow the war.
Good stuff. I'm gonna have to follow that show.
This was Yeti Jesus from the Breadlines. Thanks for coming on, Yeti. I didn't have any guests, and now I have two. I'm blessed. Thanks, bro. So now it's family time, Michael. It's the right and the left.
Okay.
And I love talking. Well, I mean, it is, Michael. And let me tell you something, bro.
Yeah.
I think of you more of a brother. My live stream about the neoliberals and how they cheated us, and you guys have always shot straight.
Yeah.
You've always been honest about how you feel,
Yeah.
and I respect that. I respect your values too, even though I don't agree with
No
a lot of
worries.
them.
Yeah, I just got off a show
So
with
I feel like a brother.
Yeah,
Well,
I'm
we
a
got
little
to-
tired,
that's to
but
work
I
this
had to
shit
come
out.
on the show because you're talking about the Wall Street thing and everything else. I
Yeah.
just got off of a show with Jimmy the Rant, my co-host. We were talking about the
What'd y'all
enemy
talk about
within
there?
the enemy. The enemy
who's that?
within the enemy. Huh?
Who's that? Who's the enemy within the enemy? Who's that?
The enemy within the
enemy within
enemy.
Yeah. Who
It's
is it?
Biden creating his own enemy within himself. And that's what he's doing to this country. He's creating his own enemy through failed policy, through failed principles, plandemic after plandemic, failed laws that shouldn't even be put in the first place. I mean,
So, Michael, you
a
do
border
realize that
wide
even though you're
open.
right about that, there's still a serious chance that he's going to be reelected.
Tommy,
because
I've been
he
saying this
has-
for 2.5
he has the
3
donors.
years
He
on
has
my
the
show.
donors. He's still going to
I've
be
been
reelected.
saying this for
no matter
2.5,
what.
3 years, that this country is so brainwashed that, and then Jimmy was like, I don't think they're brainwashed. I think they know. I think they just don't want to speak out because they're afraid of being silenced or being shadow banned or this and that. I was like, yeah. I mean, shadow banning is a thing now on social media. If you don't fit the left wing agenda or viewpoint or narrative, they take you right
It's
off.
the left wing agenda. Yeah,
It is.
I gotta snap you out of that. There is no left agenda here. It's a corporatist agenda. He's owned. So
I think it's
about
a
this,
cult.
Michael. Think about the definition of socialism. Yeah, What's
Yeah.
the definition of socialism? What's the definition of socialism? You know what it is.
It's
What is
looked at many definitions. I can't give you an exact definition,
So
but it's
the main definition of socialism was when the government seizes the means of production, and it runs a private business through government money, which is why I called which is why I called your bailouts socialism, because that's what socialism is.
Well,
So
that's
think about
yeah,
this.
exactly.
Think about this.
That's what we're
So think
seeing
about
under
this.
Biden constantly.
But what we're seeing under Biden is we're seeing the business, the private sector, running the government through the government. It's the opposite. It's the exact opposite of socialism.
Are
see
you
what I'm
sure
saying?
about that?
Yes, I am. Lockheed Martin is not socialism. Lockheed Martin's
Sabi,
giving themselves
who runs
contracts.
the government right now?
And
Who
they're
runs the
also
government right
donating
now?
to Joe Biden. I can tell you right now, it's ExxonMobil, it's Shell, it's Lockheed Martin, it's Raytheon. Yes. And that's, by the way, that's why Mike Pompeo was on Trump's cabinet. No, I don't understand why you can't admit that. Like, Trump didn't pick Mike Pompeo. Mike Pompeo was chosen for Trump. Look, I respect Trump, all this, but
Pompeo is an old Obama guy.
Trump didn't know
he goes
goddamn
back to even
politician
Bush.
in his cabinet. They were literally picked by people that funded his campaign, the Mercers and Sheldon Adelson. And Sheldon Adelson said, pick Mike Pompeo. Sheldon Adelson said, pick Steve Mnuchin, because they're Jew. And he's worked with them before. And they helped Kamala Harris foreclose on people's homes. And they helped Kamala Harris lock people up on death row without DNA evidence. So all these people that were in Trump's cabinet, they do business together. And that's why Adelson picked him. And then Trump was like, yeah, okay, I'll put Steve Mnuchin in my cabinet. Like, literally, that's like putting a fucking rough thief right in your fucking wallet. Give you a thief wallet, Steve Mnuchin. That guy literally just robbed California.
Yeah, I don't know if you heard what I was trying to say, but Pompeo is he's an Obama guy. He goes back even to Bush.
Yeah, and he's on Trump's cabinet. Isn't that crazy? Amazing.
I mean,
so you got to realize that he didn't pick his cabinet. And so guess what leaders do? Leaders pick their team.
Yeah, this is a thing that great Michael Savage said. Dr. Savage warned Trump about Pompeo, like months before.
And he didn't listen. This is the reason why he didn't get elected. He didn't get reelected, bro.
It's probably one of the reasons why they're trying.
He's stupid. He knew
that's one of the reasons why they're silencing
sniffing his fucking
right now.
trousers, bugging his phones.
That's why
he still got on the phone talking to Raffensperger about the 11,700 votes. Trump was so brazenly. He knew that the CIA was bugging him. He still fucking said that shit anyway. So that's why he lost, because he fucking did stupid shit.
That's why they're silencing us people, because we're us conservatives are the most silenced people right now in America, because when we see something that's corrupted or something that doesn't fit the narrative correctly, we're all of a sudden labeled as conspiracy theorists, white supremacists. Oh God, they throw the book at us.
What does that have to do with Trump really asking Raffensperger, do you know where I can find 11,708?
I'm just saying something as
you know what if they're elected?
Yeah.
Okay, the Republicans are going to be voting badly. They're going to be voting very badly. Yeah. The guy was stupid as fuck. He made some good decisions.
Trump ran as a Republican, but we all know why Trump ran as a Republican. He ran as a Republican because it's the only winning ticket. Trump was more independent than anything.
They were the most corrupt at the time, and they couldn't recover from the fact that they led us into Iraq, which killed hundreds of thousands of people. George W. Bush literally ruined the Republican Party. Just walk right
George
in
W. Bush created the mess that we're in now.
But Trump, he does that. Trump's a great businessman. He knows exactly where the weakness is. He steps into it, and he fucking he absorbs the. He really is. So that's his good trait, is that he's a good businessman. He's a shark. He smelled blood in the Republican Party.
Bush.
There was no blood.
What's that?
There was no blood. There was just the CIA. There was no blood in the Democratic Party. There was just the CIA and the mainstream media. And so he wouldn't have been able to get far in the Democratic primary. Bloomberg would have sold him. Trump's false as well. He didn't spend a lot of money on his. He asked Mercer and Adelson to fund him. So Bloomberg literally poured millions of dollars. Trump didn't.
Oh yeah.
So he would never have gotten far in the Democratic. He had to go to the Republican primary. Fucking stupid, fucking bloodthirsty warmongers, fucking destroyed by George W. Bush after he almost destroyed the country with his fucking Wall Street bets, his recession. The Republican Party literally almost died when George W. Bush was president. I don't think you remember.
The Republican Party, I tell you right now, is stronger.
We literally
stronger
almost
than ever.
Lost the country. No.
Well, the Republican Party
ever, or are they
is
just getting back to the fact?
yeah.
They're getting more donors. More donors are starting to realize that they have, Liz
You know
Cheney,
why
she might be in control now.
they're becoming strong
Cheney
due
stick
to
around, bro.
all these
Mitt
failed
Romney is
all
gonna
these
stick
failed
around.
policies.
Lindsey Graham's going to stick around, and Trump's going to fade, bro. I just want you to know that because
He's not going to
the
fade.
donors,
Nah.
the donors decided. I'm sorry, but the donors decided. So this is when you're gonna realize that I'm right, and these two parties should be fucking destroyed. Is when Trump fades because the donors decided that he was
He's
no
too
longer
strong right now to fade.
of use. I mean, really, they're suing every bit of his ass, bro. He's running out of money. He's running out of everything, bro.
They're suing him
literally wants
because
to
they
just
don't
go
want
away.
him to win in 2024.
He's not going to be able to run in 2024 without money, bro.
He has outside.
Again,
he has
why did Joe
sources of money?
Biden win the fucking election? Why did Joe? Like literally,
Joe Biden was planted.
Why Joe Biden won? Okay,
he was planted
there. By the donors.
No,
Trump has no money.
Joe
Trump
Biden
is
was
getting
planted
sued.
there by fake
His own
ballots.
party is he had a commission to indict him? Literally, bro.
What unverifiable signatures? That's how Joe Biden won. Fake ballots.
After they're done with Trump, he's not going to want to run again in 2024, bro. He's not going to want to be sued anymore.
I think
he's not
going
to
win in 2024.
He's not what is. I mean, he's not a leader again, so I don't think he's going to run. He's not a leader. He didn't choose his own cabinet, and he's going to be so poor, so picked on, so all his belongings taken through by the CIA. He's going to be like, I don't want this anymore. I just can't I fucking back off. And y'all are going to probably pick Ted Cruz.
One of your followers, one of your followers on Facebook just wrote a comment here saying that Democrats of the last few years are the best thing. I want to ask him a question right now, and hopefully he can respond. What Democrats, what names, if he can name any Democrat, were the last few names? Or is that what he wrote? The last few names are the best thing that ever happened to the Republican Party. What Democrats were the best thing that happened to the Republican Party? I want to know that.
Joe Biden.
No, I want him to answer. What?
Oh, okay.
What are the names?
Who are you talking about?
David Bergon.
Years. Bergeron. Democrats of the last few years are the best thing that ever happened to the Republican.
I agree with that. Now the fact that you guys really need to realize, you guys need to go to the dictionary, realize that what left wing is, realize socialism is. Just learn these definitions, write them down, memorize them. Then you'll know that the left wing political agenda has nothing to do with corporations. We seize the means of production. That's what left wingers do. We seize the means of production from the corporations. So it's the exact opposite. And you sound like you don't know the definition of socialism or the left when you say things like that, guys. That probably makes you guys get censored a lot because people are laughing at you because you're like, it says in the dictionary this. You're saying the exact opposite, and I don't get it. But on the other hand, maybe I don't know.
Who in their right mind thinks socialism? Hey, Tommy, who in their right mind thinks socialism works for any country? It doesn't.
I mean, literally, all I need you to do is fucking learn the definition of socialism first, then we can talk socialism. But until you then,
it doesn't work.
I'm not talking about socialism with you guys because you guys don't even know the definition of it. You're telling me that all that Joe Biden's doing is socialism when he's owned by literally. I can go to go on opensecrets.org. Go to the campaign finance contributions.
I know what socialism
what is that? The SEC.
Tommy.
And then
I know what it
the
is.
people that donate to him. Oh, well, then okay. So if you know that, then you know that these corporations that are donating to him, they're corporations. They have the option to be seized. They have it, and they're puppeting Joe Biden, who is a government leader. So it's the exact
what happens
opposite,
when you don't listen to
Michael,
the right people.
Of socialism. When the corporations who have the means of production, like it says in the socialist definition of the dictionary, have production and are using our government workers. It's the exact opposite of socialism, Michael.
That's what happens when you don't listen to the
guys.
right people, Tommy.
You make it so hard.
When you don't listen to the right set of people, this is what happens when you get incompetent leadership.
Next time I'll listen to Mike Pompeo and Steve Mnuchin.
Well, once you listen to the big orange guy, the big orange guy was right for the last 2-3 years.
He was. Okay, so he was right about some things, like I say, guys.
He was
He's
right
also a
about a
mess,
lot
and
of
he lost.
things.
Okay,
he lost
cool.
by fake
I mean, like
ballots.
literally, I don't care. He's never gonna fucking come back again because
Oh, sure he
can't.
is. 2024. You'll
Because
see.
he's not a politician. You're right about that. He was right about that. I like that about him. But fortunately, we only elect politicians in this country. So good try.
He
Heck
is
of
a
job.
politician.
He's not a politician. He didn't have a ground game. He didn't have a strategy. He had a hell of a fucking cabinet that was picked by right-wing neocons that literally
where
sold
does
him
it
out.
say-
They're all sitting on the commission. They're all sitting on the January
Yeah.
6th commission. All of his cabinet. That was his cabinet. I've never seen
Where does
someone
it say
more
in
fucking
the
betrayed
Constitution
than Donald
that you have to be a
Trump.
politician to run for
That
president?
sucks. Oh, it doesn't, bro. It does. I wish we didn't have them. We should hang them all. We should tar and feather these guys.
So
they're horrible.
So
But
Donald Trump
unfortunately,
will win in 2024. I think DeSantis is going to be his vice president, possibly DeSantis. I'd like to see Kay Ivey, the governor of Alabama, be his vice president. I think she has a lot of strong.
Cool.
Yeah.
Strong what? Strong what? She has a lot of strong what?
She has strong.
What is a policy that you like about her? Name a policy.
Kay Ivey? Oh, she's not afraid to speak what's on her mind. She's like a female version of Trump.
That you would like about her? She's pushing.
I just said
for what?
she has. What was that?
Oh, her policy of strong mind and she speaks her mind. That's not a policy.
Yeah,
it's not going to fucking.
She's like a female version of Trump. I like her. I think she's got a
also,
great,
after you look up socialism, also look up the word
Tommy, I already know what socialism is. Apparently, you folks don't know because you elected this fool in as president, Joe Biden.
If you do, then you know. I don't get it. Okay.
You guys were drinking the
Kool-Aid. Me out, bro.
Hey, Tommy.
Kool-Aid of what?
Y'all were drinking the Kool-Aid effect for the last 3 years when Basement Joe was saying, I'm going to deliver better. And look what he's he fucking damn near bankrupt this country.
He's just doing what his masters want him to do, which is extract the wealth from up, give it to them.
Puppets.
And did Trump stop that? He didn't. He was too busy asking Raffensperger for 11,700 votes. Anyway, I could go around and round and round. I hope if Trump does come, I hope he's learned some lessons. I really do. Because he made some stupid fucking dumbass decisions, bro. Yeah, it's Biden. I mean, none of this might help our country to do in domination politics. I want us to help our country. I want us to promote the welfare. I don't give a shit about these stupid personalities.
Hey,
just so you know.
Hey, Tommy.
Not even Bernie Sanders.
You had that 2 years ago.
I just want us to promote the general welfare, bro. I guess.
You had it under 2 years.
Oh yeah, guys.
You had it 2 years ago. 2 years ago under Trump, you had it.
Okay.
Apparently,
Michael,
Trump was voted out because of mean tweets at 3 a.m. That's why. Oh my God.
So sad. So sad. Very sad.
I'm telling you, now you have a 78-year-old man that doesn't know nothing about politics, doesn't know nothing about business, doesn't know nothing about basic principles, falls off his bike and this past weekend. I'm okay. Okay. Oh boy.
Yeah, I mean, and so our country's going to be better now because why?
That's our country right now.
But anyway,
Tommy. Our country is an old man falling off of his bicycle.
What can we do to what policies can we put in place this? What can we do with the country to fix this?
We can have
how can the common good to fix this?
We can have Joe Biden voted out in 2024. That's how we can fix all this, man.
And that'll change everything, right?
Oh, sure it will.
That'll put waffles in everybody's hands.
Oh, sure.
That'll put a golden ticket in Charlie's back pocket.
Hey, can I say 5 things?
Okay, guys.
You'll have lower gas prices. You'll have a secured border. You'll have better wages for your family. Food prices will be down under Trump. Oh my God, we'll be basically back to 2016 to 2020 again. It'd be like none of this mess ever happened. It'd be great. And almost think like you're smoking weed. You'll be like, Jesus Christ, am I high or is this reality? That's what it would be like. But yeah.
All right, guys. So this was Michael Gardner from the Patriot Angle Unfiltered podcast on Domination Politics. Michael, where can they find you?
You guys. Let let me start off. You can find me on my audio podcast platforms such as Spotify, Google, Apple. We are now on Amazon Music as well as Audible. If you have an Alexa device, you can just say, "Hey Alexa, play the Patriot Angle podcast." It plays the current episode. You can also find us on Twitch, US Patriot Unfiltered. You can also find us on Rumble, Patriot_Angle_podcast. We're on Facebook, and we're also on Instagram. Yeah, so many platforms. Oh, and we're also on TikTok. We just joined TikTok the other day. The Patriot Angle podcast on TikTok. So yeah, we're expanding. We're
Awesome.
all over the place. Yeah.
Well, you're always welcome on the show, and I'm never gonna censor you. And
That's
just, you
all
know,
right.
even horrible radical leftists. But I feel like someday we're gonna like come together and solve our problems, and without these personalities, and it's gonna be a
Yeah,
great
it's going to
day.
be in 2024, Tommy.
I mean, look, I'm willing, Michael. I literally am willing to just let you have your Trump. You can just allow the left and work together for the common good. You can have
Tommy,
your Trump all day long.
It's gonna
You
it's gonna be
you can wear your
phenomenal.
hats. You can wear your hats.
Oh, I have
you can
my
put your
I
yard
have
signs
my
out.
Make America.
You can fly.
Yeah.
You can fly your flags on your fucking pickup trucks. All I need you to do is get this income inequality stabilized. I need you to fucking help the least fortunate and marginalized among us. I need equality, a hand up, and opportunity for all Americans.
You had it under Trump.
I need us to fulfill. No, we didn't have it. We had we've always had massive poverty, and we've had massive poverty since the 1980s.
Plus community was happy under Trump. The gays were happy under Trump. They love Trump.
Yeah, I mean, without
oh my God,
AIDS vaccine,
there was rainbow
without
flags
anybody giving a
flying
shit,
all over the place
without anybody
under Trump.
Look, I'm not a fucking robot gay. I do want stuff from this country. I feel like if you say we're the best country in the world, then maybe we could benefit somehow. Maybe we could have science that gives AIDS patients another chance. Maybe we could have actual equality. Maybe we could have these people that were redlined during the 60s in poor neighborhoods. Maybe we could have those people actually have wealth and a better chance. And maybe those people could have access to colleges. And maybe we could like lessen the violence in black neighborhoods. And the fact that these people are so poor, they feel like they have no other options but to commit crimes because they feel like that's the only way that they can gain wealth.
Tommy,
is to be
you know
criminals.
where you could find that society?
I feel like that is something that we need. What, Trump 2024? What?
Exactly.
Where can I find that?
You can find that society
Michael,
in 2 more
goodbye.
years.
Goodbye, Michael.
2 more years.
Oh my God. I really respect that you like the guy a lot. Look, guys, I'm a 37-year-old man, and I'm done, boys, and I'm done with fucking putting up posters of Jonathan Taylor Thomas and idolizing these fucking celebrities. I need a country that promotes the general welfare, secures the blessings of liberty, and I need us to literally hand down the promise of the Constitution of all created equal. I need us to actually fulfill that because we've never had the opportunity, guys. We had slavery. We've had massive depression, and income inequality has made a class system that has caused the wealthy to go around committing crimes that they can literally afford to get away with because of lawyers and a justice system that's tiered towards them, and an unfair justice system that Kamala Harris locks people away, even with DNA evidence. I need a country that literally stands up and actually matches what the Constitution said of all men created equal. I need that. I don't need a fucking dude. I don't need a man. Never have, never will. I need a fucking country that gives me what they say. I need a country that gives me what it says. I need something legit. Something that's not fake. I need something that actually face value. This is what it is, and this is actually what it is. I don't need a sales script, salesman, businessman lingo. I need an actual product that does what it says it will do and actually does the job. And we haven't had that in this country ever. If Trump gets elected again, I hope he does help usher that in. But he cannot do that by himself because the Constitution is we the people of the United States, not Trump. This is Nation Politics, being free thinking, innovative, totally unminded. And I hope you had a great Tuesday. Love you guys. Even you right-wingers. And I'm a leftist. Crazy.